A warm welcome to everyone who joined the third webinar in our series. This time we are proud to co-present with Margarida Costa and Pedro Sousa from the Portuguese Trade and Investment Agency, as well as Markus Krammer heading the NFON Development Center in Portugal. Whilst Anna and Pedro will travel with us into the relevance of Portugal as IT service hub for Europe, Markus will share hands-on practical experience of his journey towards the successful setup and run of NFON's development center. We from DC Nearshoring are regularly exploring different perspectives of IT nearshoring for our audience and will continue to do so after the coming summer break. We share specific country insights as today, or explore success factors of nearshoring, present highly competent nearshore IT services company and their case studies, or provide some deep dive of the specific critical success factors to accelerate the digital transformation in our region. Our mission is to ease the utilization of European IT talents in order to accelerate projects and bypass the increasingly dramatic lack of competent IT talent in the DACH region. We do this by providing our customers access to pre-qualified, top-quality nearshoring IT services partner companies, sharing our value to deliver the promise. Furthermore, we are advising our customers on its nearshoring and general IT sourcing strategies and its implementation, including the option to set up own delivery centers, either in a build, operate, transfer option together with a partner company or independently on their own. With these activities, we are at the same time setting up an independent ecosystem of relevant parties committed to accelerate the digitalization in our region, which is basically, from our perspective, the current bottleneck, which needs to be eased and improved. Hence, we highly appreciate our growing community of participants in our webinars. I'm pretty confident that you will get relevant new insights, and I wish us all an informative and highly interesting session. With this, I'm very, very happy and proud to hand over to Anna and Pedro. I think Pedro is starting from the Portuguese Trade and Investment Agency, showing us why Portugal is a magnet for high-quality IT services. Anna, Pedro, the stage is yours, and you probably have to unmute yourself. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Kai, for the introduction. Indeed, as you say, the title of this webinar is Portugal, a magnet for IT services, for high quality IT services. And we will start with a few facts to back this up. So we will just start by showcasing some recent highlights about Portugal. So Portugal has been on the radar for foreign investors recently worldwide. Kearney highlights Portugal among the top 20 locations for foreign direct investment in the world. More recently, EY brought Portugal into the top 10 of European locations, welcoming the highest number of foreign investment projects. Keep in mind that this ranking is in absolute figures, which would not favor Portugal necessarily, but we were able to reach the top 10 last year for the first time. And this is the overall picture, but we highlight here precisely the focus on the digital, the tech sphere, and the IT services development area. As you can see, EY highlights precisely this field as being the leading source of FDI in Portugal. And of course, other players, and namely the foreign press, has been taking notice. So as you can see here, this is just a synopsis of some recent articles in the foreign press that you will be able to find about Portugal's tech developments, which are driven essentially by three factors: the combination of the availability of talent, a burgeoning tech scene in Portugal, a bottom-up tech scene with interesting startups emerging, and of course, the foreign investors that are picking Portugal as a privileged development location. And I'll pass the floor over to Anna, who will focus on these drivers.
Thank you, Pedro. Good morning, everyone. So now we'll see how Portugal became a thriving destination for technology-based operations. So this technology hub that Pedro was just mentioning was mainly fueled by two factors. One is foreign investment, and the other one is a strong local entrepreneurship. So in terms of foreign investment in IT, these are the key figures. So currently we work closely with 110 foreign companies that have invested in IT operations, corresponding to 130 IT centers that employ about 35,000 people. In terms of geographic distribution, almost 60% are concentrated in Lisbon area, 31% in Porto and Braga in the north, and other regions of the country, which represent 12%, are actually witnessing a strong growth as an alternative or expansion to the two major metropolitan areas. So in terms of business environment, this is an overall picture of the main foreign companies that have selected Portugal to establish their own IT centers or digital hubs, delivery centers or centers of expertise, or even software development centers. Those are newcomers in the country with quite a few exceptions, but again, in a different line of business. And Germany has been the top investor in IT with a strong focus in the automotive sector, followed by the UK, Switzerland, Austria, and the US. We also see a great dynamism when you look at those players that are well established in Portugal. These investors, and these are some examples of investors that recently announced expansion projects, and it is a clear sign of trust and confidence in the country. And at the same time, it also measures how satisfied they are for doing business here. So now let's see in more detail the reasons behind these incoming flows. So first reason is talent. Talent has proven to be the key asset in Portugal. So currently we have 400,000 students in higher education institutions, 80,000 graduates per year, of which 30% in science, technology, engineering, and maths areas. 38% of the students graduate in Lisbon area, 33% in Porto and Braga area, and the remaining 30% graduate in other cities with universities outside the two main metro areas. There is a huge potential in other cities, as you can see, that are worth considering. Engineering stands out, definitely. Portugal has the third highest rate of engineering graduates in Europe. Furthermore, English is widely spoken, which places the country in 7th in the English Proficiency Index. And the higher education institutions are very attractive for foreign students. 15% of students in higher education in Portugal are foreign, which is already an increase of 16% if we compare with the year before. So what is the size of the talent pool? So we have identified three major sources of talent. On entry level, the country offers 40,000 higher education students enrolled in ICT areas, of which 6,500 graduates in the latest school year available. You have the ones with experience, which is the employed professionals in IT. According to Eurostat, in Portugal, there are 174,000 employed specialists in ICT areas, which is already an increase of 16% compared to the year before. And more than 60% of them have a higher education background. And finally, we have, it's a recent trend, highly qualified coming to Portugal. And according to Landing Jobs, they estimate 5,000 foreign highly qualified expats are coming to Portugal every year. So on top of these, there are a couple of training initiatives that are currently in place to improve IT skills at national and regional level. Upskill and STEAM at national level, the Switch program based in Porto, Qualifica IT based in Braga. And it is also important to mention that new IT academies have been launched by companies already established in Portugal. And the purpose is also to address specific competencies, namely in emerging technologies. So this shows the impact of COVID-19 in current labor practices. So we've seen last year during lockdown in Portugal, population in urban areas working from home was around 19%. But if we look at the figure in ICT areas, it's almost 67%. And looking at the future, what is the trend? So according to a survey from Catholic University in Portugal, 80% are interested in remote work. 78% are interested in having a hybrid model in which they can work from home 2 to 3 days per week. So this is really an important trend that is currently part of many companies' strategy. So as I said in the beginning, Portugal has a strong and vibrant entrepreneurial environment. And there's also an entrepreneurial mindset in the Portuguese workforce, mainly in this area of IT. So Lisbon is one of Europe's fastest growing tech ecosystems. It has emerged as a hub for entrepreneurial innovation and technology. So the whole ecosystem is here. So you have 4 unicorns. We achieve more than 2,000 startups popping up everywhere from north to south. Lisbon is in the top 10 rankings according to Startup Heatmap Europe. And the whole ecosystem from incubators, accelerators, to scale up your business, networking entities, business associations, they are all here. And the Web Summit established in Portugal since 2016 is actually a recognition of all this. So the message here is partnering with these startups can be an opportunity to grow your business, actually, to increase research and development capabilities, and to kickstart your presence in Portugal. So the telecom infrastructure, overall infrastructure is very well developed. You have an impressive motorway network across the country, good airport connectivity. We are just 2 hours flights on average to major destinations in Europe. This is an example of the number of weekly flights to some cities in Germany. There's regular flights to these destinations. And on the other side, we have high-performing telecommunications. During lockdown, the telecom infrastructure proved to be resilient and reliable. Data traffic almost double, as we know. So the transition process to remote work was fast and very successful. In terms of office space, the office market is actually quite mature in Lisbon and in Porto. And if we compare with major cities in Europe, the Lisbon prime CBD rents are competitive. So in recent trends in flexible working models, flexible working spaces, as a result of that, the number of co-working spaces are also increasing at an incredible growth in the country from north to south. So there's more than 250 spaces currently available in Portugal. So now, just final slides about how can we help your business in terms of support. So Portugal has European Union funds that have been available in the form of tax credit and financial support for CAPEX investment and for investment research and development activities. We are now in the transition phase to a new framework program, which is called Portugal 2030. And we are expecting similar measures to be in place. At the same time, the Recovery and Resilience Plan was already approved with 16.6 billion euros as total amount. And we would like to highlight here a set of digital initiatives that are already in place and will be for the next 3 years that might be of interest, targeting people, companies, and the government. Employment incentives are also available, namely grants and tax exemption. For highly qualified expats that would like to live in Portugal, there's an attractive flat tax rate, personal income tax of 20% for a 10 years period. And finally, the Tech Visit is a certification program that allows companies to attract highly qualified professionals from countries outside the Schengen area. So in a nutshell, ICEP, we are a government investment promotion agency. We work as a one-stop shop agency. We provide services in full confidentiality and free of charges. And we support you from the early stage when we are still deciding you have different locations and you need useful information. So we handle your inquiries, we prepare information, data benchmark, statistics regarding all the information you need to feed your business case. Then we do identify the best global incentives package that best suits the investor needs. We help you settling in, so you organize fact-finding visits in Portugal. We facilitate the contacts with the public administration, with the entities and all the stakeholders that are relevant for your project. And finally, once you decide for Portugal, once you are established, then a key account manager will be assigned to your project just to make sure that on a regular basis you have support from our side and you are also able to expand and to grow your business. Thank you very much. We'll be completely available. Those are our contact details, mine and Pedro's email. We are now going to see just a 2 minutes infographics that will highlight Portugal recent achievements. So thank you. Now I'll give the floor to Markus Krammer, which is the Managing Director of NFON Developments in Portugal. Markus, would you be so kind? Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everyone. Welcome as well from my side to this webinar. Very exciting what you presented, Anna and Pedro. And in my presentation, I would like to share with you the experience that we as a company coming from Germany have done in the last 9 to 12 months. And I would start as well with a little presentation. So let me share this. So I hope everyone can see it. Yeah, NFON is a tech company. We are based in Germany. We are founded 2007. And I would like to do my presentation 2 parts. The first part will be a bit about NFON, and by talking about what we do, you will see very clear why we have chosen a research and development center nearshore, and how we then moved forward by evaluating different locations, and why we then finally choose Portugal and then Lisbon to come here. Let's do it. Oops, sorry, now it should work. Okay. So a bit about NFON. NFON, we are, as I said, we are a tech company and in the cloud communication, cloud telephony space, and our mission is to be the leading provider of voice-centric business communication services in Europe. So we address only B2B customers. And by doing that, we expanded over time to various countries. So as I said, founded 2007 in Munich. We have multi-geo redundant data centers in Germany. One of the highlights, obviously, is that we went to the stock exchange market in Frankfurt 2018. And we have grown over the years up to nearly 500 employees. We have across all countries over 40,000 business customers. They have, of course, branch offices not only in those countries that you see now in blue. They have also offices around the globe, so Mexico, India, China, South America, all over the countries. We have an indirect sales model, so we work with nearly 3,000 sales partners. And as already pointed out, we are in 15 countries actively selling. We have in most countries own sales offices. And by that, we have, of course, come to the competition with all the big companies. And so it was always a sort of race to find the software tech talents, first in Germany, but also then in other countries to keep up with the competition. What's the opportunity? Very briefly, what I want to present here is across the European market, we have nearly 250 million people that work, and of those 250 million employees, 135 million have phones. And only 20% of those phones are already in the cloud. Everyone is using cloud storage, cloud applications, all of this, but the communication and telephony sector is still a bit behind. And this is, of course, the challenge. And as the communication, we've seen this in the pandemic, is sort of the glue in organizations, in companies, that holds and brings people together. If they work remote, in the office, from underway, traveling, it is so important to have this very intuitive, seamless usability of communication infrastructure. And overall, we all know that I think in most companies, there's still room for improvement. When we talk about that, about business communication services, then it's about, of course, enterprise telephony, to have this available on all sort of apps or devices that we have, to include immediately video screen sharing, chat, presence, share files, have virtual project rooms, have a very simple usability to achieve a higher productivity of our workforce, bet in contact center services, business intelligence service, and integrate into third-party platforms. And yes, we are using already now one of the global leaders in video conferencing. There are more that we use. So, and to keep up as a European, as a German player that is not in the US market and not listed there, of course, we looked around and looked, okay, what can we do to improve, to enhance our capabilities for software development? Because yes, of course, we do have data centers and we do have hardware, but we all know that nowadays software is key. Software is the differentiator, and everything needs to be developed very fast, tested, and then rolled out, deployed in a very short time frame. And to keep up with our mission in the European market and to be strong, equipped against the, of course, the competitors from the US market, we looked around. So we had following options. The option number one was to look more and pay more in Germany. This was one option. The other was, look around our neighboring countries. Where are companies that we could either acquire or outsource or build our own nearshore center. And in this process, we then looked at various countries and made a short list, had up some criteria that I will share in a minute. But before I go there, I would like to show you a very brief video, what we have produced just a few weeks ago about our center here in Lisbon, just to bring across what it actually means currently to be in Lisbon.
NFON is a tech company. For us, software development is key. We provide cloud communication and telephony services for customers across Europe. Lisbon, Portugal, is the Silicon Valley of Europe. We have come to Lisbon in 2020 to open up our research and development center. Happiness out of the box. Teamwork. Have fun with us and grow. Come and join us.
So, very brief video. I hope that the quality was good so that everyone could see and could hear everything what we said. So why Portugal and why Lisbon? And as I pointed out, we were looking to enhance, to improve our capabilities, to become faster in our developments, and to, of course, hire more tech talents, because we needed more software skills to keep up with the competition. So when we looked at the pandemic, and I put this photo in because this was when we visited our office, actually in June 2020, it looked like that. So a few days after the lockdown got lifted in June, and thank you to ICEP and to their support, especially to Carlos, we had a pretty full agenda. So we flew for 3 days to Lisbon, and we had from 8 in the morning till basically 9 in the evening meetings. We looked at office spaces for our own. We looked at co-working spaces. We spoke to recruiting companies. We spoke to other startup companies, why they came to Lisbon, what was the experience, what went well, what would they do different the next time, and so on and so on. We spoke about locations. You see at the top right there, we have chosen our office to be in the prime CBD area. I think this is important if you really want to make it simple and easy, accessible for your employees to come, even if they work in a hybrid model. And we just heard most of them want to work in a 2 or 3 day sort of hybrid model. And we found a nice place. This was the place that we liked the most. And you will see now a photo how it's looking today. So with some creativity and imagination, we achieved to turn this into this sort of space. So I'm sitting in one of those glass offices on top right, and I'm just talking to you. So with some imagination and support, of course, we built this into a very light and a very open space environment. Our people like it. You saw this as well in the video, and we feel very, very well and very home in this environment. So the journey from, hey, yes, we made the decision last year, and I will go into more detail about the time frame, until coming to Lisbon and then basically deciding on an office space, finding a partner for the fit out, for the build out, and then moving in was pretty tight. But I think it was a fantastic journey that we have chosen as company. Not everything was always 100% planned, but I think we did it the right way. We are an agile company, and I think so far we are very happy with every decision we have taken. So what are you waiting for? I was asked to talk a little bit more about the reality. So what we experienced and what we did to come here. So even before the pandemic, so in February, we spoke about, okay, we want to expand our IT capabilities. So we had first conversations early February and planned to come to Lisbon actually and to Portugal in March, but then the pandemic hit us all. So we had in March last year the first meetings, and even though we faced the pandemic, we continued and we considered different models. We considered a joint venture model with some companies here in the Portuguese market. We also considered outsourcing and of course a greenfield approach. And every model has its pros and cons. Yeah, it's about ramp up time. It's about the run rate cost, time to market, access to tech talent, access to universities, what kind of management culture you want to have. Do you want to hand over your requirements to a company and then they build it, or you want to integrate them with your own staff? There are different rules, laws that you need to consider, what kind of model you want to apply, and of course the support. So what kind of support you have from a governmental support, from other parties. These were all points that we considered to choose and to make the decision between, yes, we're going for either a joint venture, an outsourcing model, or a greenfield approach. Obviously, very clear what we have chosen. We have chosen the greenfield approach. So we went our own way. And I think it was for us as NFON the right decision. Every company is different. Every company has different priorities, has a different culture. But I think for our company, it was the right decision to do that. So what were the decision criteria for us to first make the evaluation and compare the different countries to choose then Portugal? And in a second step, then the location. We've seen from Anna and Pedro that Porto is a very important region. There's also Coimbra, Braga, other areas. But then finally, we decided for Lisbon. So from a regulatory environment point of view, I think for us, it was important, the rule of law and EU membership. Yeah. Of course, there are as well other countries that have great software developers. But in terms of those 2 points, this was important for us. Also the political stability and the strength of the employment legislation. So this is something where we said, okay, how close is it to our culture, to our jurisdiction in the German market? And is it comparable? And these were factors that we took into account. From education and people, of course, I mean, we've already seen from Anna and Pedro the number of ICT graduates, the English proficiency. We took this into account, of course, with the average team size. And it was not a key factor for us, cost, because very often I hear, yes, cost, but no, it's actually for us more, can we start projects in the right time? Instead of delaying projects, because in this tech environment, delaying project is more costly than if you maybe pay a little bit more, but you get the people and you can start your project. That's far more important because you gain competitiveness, you deliver your projects, and that's key. So, and the total workforce index was as well important for us. So, of course, the STEAM factors, how many graduates, etc., was very important for us. We spoke to various companies from Porto, from Lisbon, from other areas, and got very good insights what is important, how to evaluate that as well on our priorities as NFON. Support factors, very, very key. Yeah. So again, thank you from my side to ICEP, because there we got really a fantastic support. So it's important to have logistics. You mentioned it as well. We have in Germany offices in Munich, Frankfurt, Berlin. So for us, it was important that every day we have at least 1 or 2 flights from those cities to the region where we want to have our R&D nearshore center. And of course, when you land, you should not drive 2 or 3, 4 hours, because in some other countries, this might be the case. So that you fly 2 hours, but then you still drive 3 or 4 hours, and then it takes a day to get there. So for us, it was important within 3, 4 hours, we need to get from one city to the other. Of course, government support, I mentioned already. Broadband penetration, yes, we decided in the middle of the pandemic that yes, we want to set up our research and development center, and people are going to work from home. And at that time, we thought, okay, this will continue being in this space as a cloud communication provider. This is key. So how good is that? And not in every country, even in Europe, we have the best upload broadband penetration or speed available, and this is key. So it's hard then to have video conferencing, paired programming exercises or sessions with people who have limited broadband connectivity. So this was a very important factor. And some other factors here, let me pick one more, the cultural similarity. The Portuguese, as we got to know them, are very, very diligent to the work, very focused. They want to prove themselves, they're problem solvers. They're very close to the German work ethics and a culture in our eyes. We have here very often meetings and sessions that go longer than some meetings in Germany. So we see here that this is a great match for us. So this was as well important. If you compare then among 7 or 8 countries that we took into account at that time, and then nail down all those criteria and create for your own company rating factors, we came out with a sort of a formula that yeah, Portugal has the highest hits for us, has the highest points for us. And finally, we made the decision for Portugal and then also for Lisbon because of the number of great tech talents that are available, for the number of office spaces that we could get. And of course, there's competition, but we also have something that we can add. We're a very attractive company. We made the decision for Lisbon. Let's go to my last slide. It's what went well, what have we learned? I think, and you can see this if you do a bit of searching on Google, I think we started well with media. So we went to the media and said, okay, we are coming here. This is why we want to do it. I think we paid attention to people. This is good with a good company identity here. Paying attention to people, I think, is really key, and listen to people. So what is important, and take this feedback and apply it and use it. Yeah. I think we created here in our office, our space, an environment where people feel home. It's the second home, more or less. And yes, we had the pandemic, but even in the pandemic, many developers said, I would go to the office. I come to the office because 5 days to work from home, not everyone has the perfect home office. Here they feel home. We're in a team. We have some stuff where they can have some fun. So we really created an environment that's cool for them. They like, they really get on very well among each other. So I think this is key. Office location, I already mentioned, and the whole remuneration package. So it's not only the pay, it's the environment, it's the access to the office, it's the growth opportunities they have, it's the exchange with international companies. Yeah, it's the learning and growth path that they can experience with a company. I think is key for them. They're young talents, very eager to learn, very motivated, very well educated. So it's important for them to grow and have a great career path. What would I say have we learned? it's a fight for talent. And to talk here, of course, would most likely create more players from other markets to come to Lisbon and come to Portugal. Yes, there is a competition for talent, and they get every week, they get at least one call from a recruiter, maybe even more. So yes, we do the same, but this is really a very competitive environment. So you need to be creative and find something what to do to really retain all those people. Employer branding is key. NFON is not Mercedes or BMW or Volkswagen. We are NFON, we are a small company. We do not have this big brand yet. And so we had to be smart to get out there and show our logo. I had to pick the right spots. The COVID-19 pandemic, of course, hit everyone, we as well. We are well underway. We're very happy what we have achieved. But of course, this was something that, we had to cope with, like everyone. I think it's also important that depends of your setup, build very fast a company ecosystem. So who does accounting, tax, law, because the workload is a bit different to the one in Germany. So who can you give you the right consultation? Yeah, and these kind of things are really important. What to do when and how to create your work contract, your agreements with employees, so that they see it's very simple, easy, understandable, and attractive for them. I said as well, listen and pay attention. This is key. Have someone here who can give you the right feedback, the right advice, where to go, what to do, who to talk to, what to apply, and sooner or later make your decision. And then I think you need someone, I call them the find Mr. Who does it. Basically, the person who comes here does it and just creates that and creates this environment. Who is the sort of Mr. this company, who can go to any sort of ministry or agency when you talk to those different institutions, who can represent the company, who can basically explain that, on who represents the company here and steers the setup and the operation of a research and development center. So overall, I think to summarize, we're very happy with what we have achieved since last year in September. So September we started, and now we're here in July, have a wonderful office, have 18 people under contract. And for us, the soft skills to hire the right people is more important than to have the best coders, for example, or developers. They need to work in a team, they need to fit together. The culture is important, the attitude is important, and this is our attention when we have recruiting conversations and interviews. So we're very happy. Some lessons learned we have, yes, where we could have done even more successful or could have done things better. But this was our experience I can share with you, and I want to share with you. So if you have any questions, then let me know. And I think I now hand over to you, Kai.
Thanks, Markus. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Pedro. The very, very impressive, even for us who are working day by day with nearshoring locations. This was an outstanding presentation from all of you and very, very impressive, very interesting insights. So thanks everybody for joining and helping us with this webinar and make it very, very sticky and very, very relevant. So I would like first to ask into the round of participants whether any kind of initial questions are popping up you want to put into this conversation to have some interaction here. So if you want to ask a question, please unmute yourself and join this conversation.
Kai, David here. Thank you, Markus, Anna, for the presentation. It's great. I have a question for Markus. I mean, in the preparation of this webinar, we already discussed about a few topics. And one point I think can be also, let's say, articulated where I want to have your precision comments on that. When I've seen the selection criteria of Portugal, I don't remember that I've seen the most cheapest country to have IT resources. Yeah, when we consider nearshoring, we talk with Kai every day with customers. There's still this perception that the nearshoring strategy is at first coming from the past, is at first a strategy to decline, to minimize the costs. And actually, we think this is the wrong perspective. Still, I would say the economics is really important, but actually is more about getting resources to support the growth. So it's more the strategic way to get new resources. So I wanted to have this, your comments on this, how this was articulated within NFON, and also with this, your strategy, how many people, for what you may disclose, how many people you plan to have, and if you think you can scale up, let's say, and this is for me really important, this plan to support the growth of the company.
Great, thank you very much, David. Yeah, so very often, as you rightly say, cost is taken into account as one of the key factors to go nearshore. We looked at that, but for us, it was not the key driver, definitely not, because it was the availability of tech talent and to get projects started that they were key for us, key for our development, key for our corporate strategy. In this environment where we are software cloud-based communication services, to start a project or to delay a project for 1 year, so not to be able to start a project for a year, actually puts you back for more than 2 years. And if you do this for 1 or 2 or 3 times, then I think it's really hard to catch up. So it was for us, hey, do we find the right people in Germany, or do we find them anywhere else? And of course, being there long in the market, we really struggled to find the number of people in Germany. We went 4 years ago, we went to Berlin, we opened up our office there, but even there is very tough competition. And all the blue chip companies and the American companies, they come to Germany, of course, they can pay high salaries, and you either go into this path or you take a different alternative route, and this is what we did. The second part of your question is, so the strategy here is up to 70 to 100 people in the next 2-3 years. So yes, this year we will grow up to 30, and then we will continue to hire. And it's not only software developers, and this is what I want to say. We came and we planned, hey, let's focus on software developers, of its front end, back end, voice engineers, different kind of skills in languages. But now, as we continue to struggle to find also other profiles in, for example, the German market, we will broaden it maybe as well to product owners, to quality engineers, to other people that we have here. So, and this is, I think, a plus and a confirmation for the location Lisbon, Portugal, that we not only want to focus on software development, tech skills, also on other skills. This is so important. So cost is not a key differentiator here, and it should not ever be a factor that it's the key driver. The key driver must be availability of the right tech talent and to start your projects in time so that you can deliver your projects, because they will turn out more success and benefits for your companies.
Thank you.
Excellent. Maybe a question for Anna and Pedro. Maybe you can give us a perspective on the country competition somehow. So, you know, Portugal was in the past not the prime source for nearshoring activities. It started initially around the Eastern European countries. So how would you consider the competitiveness, and who is your main competitor with regard to this kind of attracting European companies to invest in Portugal?
Thank you, Kai. I can start, and then Pedro can add something if he. Well, usually we compete with in these type of projects. We compete with cities rather than countries. So usually, on average, we do compete with Dublin, with Madrid, with Barcelona, with Warsaw. Those have been the main cities that we usually compete with. Investors usually do these city assessment across Europe, normally within cities in Europe. And we try to, based on the project specifications, based on talent availability, based on the number of higher education institutions, proximity to the airport, we also usually present other cities in Portugal. So we do present several cities in Portugal based on the project specifications. And then based on the different criteria that investor is considering in his assessment, we do contribute with information. And usually, as Markus was saying, there is a fact-finding visit in Portugal and to other destinations that are shortlisted. But yes, these are usually the countries that we usually compete with in this area.
Okay, excellent. Petro, anything to add from your side?
I think Anna pretty much covered the important topics. It's clear for everyone that Portugal, being a EU location, a Euro area member, we are not competing with low cost locations. We are competing with comparable locations within the Euro area, typically, and the European Union. And as Anna said, increasingly this is a competition among cities. So some years ago, maybe it was only about Lisbon when we looked into Portugal. As recognition came through about Portugal as a location, then companies started to look also into other cities in the country, and this in fact forms the strength of Portugal. To some extent, we have different university cities supplying talent, and that are able to compete with different profiles of projects in terms of their specific technical needs and different scales of projects competing with the locations that Anna identified.
So thanks, Petro. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Markus. So this is, to sum it up, another excellent, outstanding example on the logic behind nearshoring activities, which are increasingly less driven by cost, but increasingly driven by quality, access to talent, cultural closeness, and many companies in the DACH region still did not use this opportunity to fill their own gaps, and we have a really dramatically increasing gap of talented people. Software is more and more the critical success factors. Whatever you produce and try to sell without software, you will lose competitiveness, and we need to accelerate these activities. And we have a great example here, how decisions are made and that confirmed to be the right decisions, as NFON example is showing us. So thanks everybody for joining our today's webinar. We will have a summer break now. Next one will then probably be around September or even October. And we wish everybody a wonderful summer break. In case you want to get in touch, please drop us an email and we will connect you with Anna, Petro, or with Markus. And I would be happy also to receive some feedback on our series of webinars. It will be published in our YouTube channel, and every participant and everyone who has registered and was not able to participate will receive a link by email so that you have a chance to revisit this session. Thanks everybody. Have a wonderful weekend, and bye-bye.